Well, good morning, everybody. How you all doing? Well, we're finally getting some rain here in Tennessee. We really, and I mean really need it. Everything's dry, too dry here. So, Lord, I'm so glad that we're getting rain. We do need it. But anywho, I had a gentleman is on my YouTube channel. And he was asking me what the difference is between whittling and carving. And I thought, well, okay, I'm not the greatest explaining things, I'm just an old country boy. But anyway, I thought, well, let's just kind of show some things here between whittling and carving and everything. So let's just get you down here. And here's where I lined out a bunch of tools. You can tell there's all kinds of chisels and chisels. That is carving, where you use a mallet. And you use, this is another mallet right here. All these are homemade. And like I said, carving is usually you use a chisel and you drive it. Whoops, came off, folks. Sorry about that. Let's put you back on there. There you go. Just got to say, but you drive this down through there. And everything, just like this. Just got a little demonstration. You can really, there's different chisels. This is too light. This is a dogwood. See the difference? It drives better. It's heavier. This is right here is carving, where you use different profiles of chisels and everything. In which this is a chisel, but this is a push chisel, where you have to use your hand and you push it. This is for pushing. This has a little bit of meat to it, so you can lightly drive this. Without hurting it. Where these are still chisels and stuff, but these are palms right here. You don't want to drive them with your mallet. Like this is a very teeny tiny little V-gouge, and it is a palm. It fits your palm. Just like these right here. I've had these for years. These are chisels, but these are all done with your palm. You don't want to drive this with a hammer because you could bust the shaft there. Your flex steel. That's a palm. I have look at this chisel here. I buy chisels from a lot of places. This is an antique. This came out of Germany. I had it sent here. And then I go to yard sales and flea markets, and then I found this one in here. And I have a bunch of slicks, very old carpenter chisels. And I own those too. But, that is carving right there. And then whittling, just like I was doing the other day. Whittling, just say, that, the angel. You're using a knife to whittle. Right there. That's the difference. You have carving is when you drive, like these right here, the Tikis. I'll set all these lines in with a chisel, and then I go in with the knife. Let's see here. See the Tikis? See, that's all done with a chisel. I chisel all that out, and I chisel all the mouth out and everything with different chisels. Then I come in and I whittle all these lines in. I shape it all with a knife. And that right there, we use chisels to rough this out, and then we use knives for your detail. Your chisels and everything is to rough out a lot of wood really fast. Then you can go in with your details with your carving knife, and you can carve, your detail in. Or not, you can whittle your detail in. I keep calling it carving. I know it's confusing, And then the other form of woodworking I do, I am a file carver, basically. I use files like this. Just little tiny files right here. And what I use them for, I don't, and I'm not saying anything bad or anything, but I don't really use a Dremel. I have one to me if I do some sanding, but I am not a Dremel carver at all. And I had a good friend of mine, he was a hand carver, and his hands really went bad, so he had to go to the Dremel, and that was fine. But see, this is what I use the file. I've cut all these windows out right here in this cottonwood, and I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to file them out. You know, and I like that look. I have been doing this since I was a kid. I mean, you got to realize I grew up with nothing modern. You know, we didn't have modern fancy tools, so I learned to use anything I could get my hands on. And see, that way it squares those windows up when I file all these out and everything. And I've got little tiny files. I'll file in between these roof planks and everything. I will cut this with a file. Everything I do is just, I grant you, it's 100% hand done. I am an old school carver. But I will file all these little doodads out on this cottonwood that I'm doing and everything. And then here's a different, you know, I bought this years ago. I love it. It's double-sided. You know, you just got to learn to use it without whacking your finger. But, you know, this will just take all this out. You seen me carving this angel the other day. You know, I got to do several of these. But, see, look, I'm whittling, actually. I'm not doing any carving. Now, if you wanted to and everything, you can take, if you want to, you can take a skew chisel. I don't have my big skew out here. Let's see. A skew chisel is just a straight chisel, or you got angles, you got right and left, left and right. Where is my skew? That's an angle. Let's see here. There you go. It's like a little skew chisel. This is a palm. And you could come in here and you could start at an angle and you could set your lines up. You know, you could actually do it this way, and then you could push. See how that is? Let's bring you over here so you can try to see it. This is the hardest thing about trying to film without somebody with you. But let's get you down here. And you see, folks, you can actually push using a palm chisel to bring those lines in instead of using a knife. You know, you could do it this way. My wife, she loves these tools, so she uses these a lot. I mean, I grew up with a knife, you know, a pocket knife. So I've learned to I tell people I've learned to manipulate the blade. I have, because I'll just take that little blade and I just follow that little darling right around there. I feel it. But that's the difference. Here's whittling, and then the other is carving. Carving is using a mallet mainly and driving a tool with force with a mallet. And it's basically to rough out the picture, and then you can come into with your detail with your knives, and you can whittle out all the lines and add the beauty. So, you know, it's a back and forth thing. Most people like me, we just call it carving, you know, and that's what confuses people. I'm just a carver, and it's a misconception. Yes, I know, but we've been, you know, that's just what we called it, you know. You know, you get used to that. So if I do it, I apologize. I don't mean to confuse people, because right now I'm just whittling. I'm just setting these lines and I'm just whittling right here. Where, like I showed you a minute ago, if I had a shape on here and I needed to take something out, you know, I would grab my chisel and then lock it down and everything, and then I'd come in here. That's too light. That one's light. I keep forgetting. That one's light. You got to have something heavy to drive this in when you're trying to remove wood. Right here now we're just carving. We're just setting these lines, you know, say you have a picture here, say this is a wing or something, and you need to really rough this out. Because if you use knives to rough it out, you're going to wear your hand out. So get in there with a chisel and rough it out like this, and then you can draw your detail and everything, and you would whittle out all the detail. See how I do that with the chisel? I'm going against the grain. And it would be fastened down. I'm just doing a rough demonstration trying to explain carving and whittling. I love the sound. And the other aspect of me, which you know I am, I've said it, I'm an adze carver. I do use a guttering adze. And I am a hatchet carver. See that little hatchet? That's one. This is my Grant's. And that's it right there. Because I'm a spoon carver and I am a adze carver and hatchet carver. I carve spoons with hatchets and everything. So that's some of my tools. And like I said, here's one of the bows that I just sanded it this morning. I put a food grade oil on it and everything. Now see that right there? Okay, that's done with an adze. See, I gutter this out with this adze, and I shape it with different hatchets. This is my detail hatchet because it does not weigh nothing. You know, I've custom, made the handle, and this is all for me. It fits my hand. The Grant's, that's your main thing when you want to remove a lot of wood because it's heavy. You can drive this, and it has a good drive because it will flat move wood. And I'll come in here and I'll cut all this out with a hatchet. There is no machine work here at all. All this is done with a hatchet. I cut everything out after I get done. And like I said, I use a guttering adze and I gutter this out. And I'll even gutter the handle out right here so your hands will fit and everything. And that way when you hold it, you can hold it like this. This is one of them. And I use chisels. I use my chisels on this because after you get it roughed out with a hatchet, here's one that's not been finished, it's almost. After you get done roughing this out, you want to come in here with a chisel and you want to clean up and drive some of these sides in, these corners in and stuff. You'll rough it out with a chisel. You do a lot of chisel work and a lot of hatchet, but then you still will go into it with a knife. Because you can get in here and crisp up some of these edges right here. You can get right in here and you can slice that out right there. And now we're into basically like whittling. We're just whittling that out there to get that edge nice and crisp and everything. That's the trick. Can you see that, folks? See how I do that? I'm just cleaning up, right? And wooden bows, I get them close. They're close, and they're as close as a human can get. They're not perfect, but that's how they were built back when I was a kid. I used to watch men do this, and I had the ability to picking up things. So just close, just very close. Just clean them up there, and I'm sanding all this. And I don't take out all the marks and everything. I will have to do one of these. Hang on, folks. This right here, this is going to a show of mine because they want me to primitive carve. See? That's a bow. That is a bow right there. I have got it ready. That's a bow. And I will come in here with this adze and I will drive this down right in here. I can't do it right now because I don't have my bench. But see, I'll do a little bit. And see how I will drive that down like this? Look how pretty that wood is. It's got a lot of spalding in it. And see, I take all this down. I will turn this. I have a custom bench that I use. I will do all this. And then I will come in here with my Grant's and everything. That's not my Grant's. That's a detail. This is my Grant's. And I will come in here and I will start shaping this bow with this hatchet. Like I said, I can't do too much and everything. And then the other thing, I will use spoke shavers and I will use draw knives to finish this up. I'm not really sure where my spoke shaver is, folks. I'll have to get that out sometime and show it to you folks. Kind of just trying to do a rough, trying to answer the man's question on carving and what the difference is whittling. And like I said, even these right here, okay, these are all done with a palm chisel, so I can push. We use palms, so we push. We take these and we push like this. We take out the background, and then we come in here, and this is a lot of whittling into this. We come in here and we will follow our pattern, and we'll take these petals and we'll shape them just like this. It'd be easy if I had somebody here to film me, folks. I'm trying. See now, so this is all whittling, and then then it's all put in with a palm chisel to take this down and behind the petals and stuff, and it gives you that shallow relief carving right there. All these are done that way. Even this tiki here. Told you, I'm a tiki nut. I've been carving tiki since I was a kid. Even this tiki right here. Okay, all this is done with small chisels, palm chisels, and then after we roughed it in by, like that, then we went in with the detail knife and started carving all the detail. This one's almost done. This one here, I've got to do some more carving right here and right here. This is going to be a unique one. There's a lot of love in these. I tell people, when you buy my work and everything, especially when you buy tikis, when you buy a tiki, you're buying my soul, my heart, my love, because I've been doing them since I was 7 years old. I got my tiki patterns out the other day, and I probably got over 10,000 drawings of just pieces, because what I'll do, I'll draw an eye, I'll draw a nose, I may draw part of a tooth, may draw some kind of, something like this, and it's not fully drawn, and I'll sit down later, and it's like a movie projector in my head. It just never stops. It runs and runs and runs, and I see these constantly. I do them constantly. When I was in Florida for years, I would sit on the beach and take driftwood, and I would carve tikis. I love carving tikis. It's just, I would fit in Hawaii because I like tikis, and I have my work in Hawaii. I have my tikis all over the world. I have tikis everywhere. But anyway, whittling, just using a knife. Okay, remember that. This is basically, we're just whittling. See how, okay, remember, when it picks up like that, you stop. Turn that little darling back around and come the other direction. Always, always remember that. And make sure you take that back edge off. Just knock that little edge off. Yep, see, it won't let me carve that way. So I'll just come in here. And like I said, I am not knocking Dremel carvers. They do phenomenal work. But I am not a Dremel carver at all. I didn't have tools like that. They have all kinds of fancy little doodaddies and stuff. But I make tools. When I need to get into detail, like some of my tikis, and if I don't have a tool that will fit and what I want, I'll just sit down with a nail, a piece of steel, and a file, and 30 minutes to an hour later, I have the tool that I want. I have made tools but that's just how it was done back then. We didn't have all the fancy stuff like kids and people have now. We didn't. We just had our hands. and the other thing we had to do, we had to survive. So you just learned to use whatever is laying around, and you made it work and everything. So I'm not knocking anybody that does Dremel carving or anything like that. The one thing I don't like, and I will be truthful about it, I don't like CNC machines, because anybody can learn to push a button, and it comes, and your computer puts out a pattern, and then you slide this board in there, and then this machine comes down and cuts it all out, and then they call that hand carving, or they call that whittling, or what do they want to call it? And that's offensive to a man that's been using a knife and a chisel for 54 years. What I am doing right here is handmade. And if you push a button, it's not handmade. It is not. I don't care. Anybody can buy a blank piece of wood and type in a relief carving of a squirrel sitting on a tree by a log eating a nut. And that computer, if it has that pattern, it will literally punch that out. And then they say, oh, it's hand done. No, I'm sorry. I will argue with you. It is not hand done. It is not. That is a machine done. And what I'm doing is hand done. So that's one thing that I'm very firm about. This is whittling. And then, like I told you, if you want to come in and take out some of this right here, and I do, I'll use my palm chisels. And now I'm just carving. And they call this carving. And this is what is confusing people. You know, I just call it carving, but no. Carving is done with chisels. Whittling is done with a knife. And I don't mean to confuse anybody, but, you know, that's just the way it is. And I'll just come in here and clean some of those little marks up. And see, I can stand and carve. I have carved everywhere, folks. As long as I have this thumb, you know, you can tell that thumb is very active. That's one thing I could never teach my wife, is how to use her thumb. She hasn't picked it up. And she's been carving for over 20 years. I think over 21 years, actually, or even maybe a little bit longer. And she's become a phenomenal artist. And she's a non-artist. You know, and I taught her. She didn't think she'd ever carve. And I'm like, yep, you got to have a little gumption in life. So I taught her to carve. Shoot, I've taught a lot of people. But anywho, remember, whittling, knife. If you're going to get into carving, chisel, mallet, another mallet, and you drive. That way you can rough things out, and then you would come in after you did that, you know, and then you could come in here with some palm gouges, and then you could finish cleaning that up. Say this was a wing or something that you were trying to create. It had to have that little dish into it. So, see, look, I'm just taking this out. And the other tool that I love, and I bought this years ago, looks like a butter knife. But it's double-sided. Double-sided. But this is considered a chisel. Because I am, you know, and it's considered a palm chisel. I call it a knife. But, you know, some of the people out there will disagree with me, and that's fine. But let's see here. You see, we're using the chisel here. You can use it as a palm chisel because this wood is extremely soft, so you don't want to take out anymore, but you can still use your chisels like this. And now you can be doing all this carving right here. I hope you can see that. Kind of hard, folks. Like I said, you can use your chisels like this to clean up. See, I stopped driving it with the mallet. Now I'm just kind of smoothing this out. There you go. So you can use them as a push tool, or you can use them as a mallet tool. You know, you've just got to learn to create yourself. That's the best thing I can tell you. You know? Because now I'm just using it as a push tool. And it's a regular chisel. You know, it is a regular chisel. And like I said, a V-gouge, you know, if you don't want to cut lines, a V-gouge just cuts V's. You know, if you're going to do a little bit of hair, you can just come in here and, you know, just do some hair. That's just a V-gouge. Now, I'm not trying to get this perfect. I'm just showing you what it does, folks. See? Just see how it does them lines? And then I have a micro one. Very little. When I get into some little detail, I just come in here, and this is a V-gouge. And this is a micro. I have micro chisels. Face it, folks, I am just a hand carver. These hands could talk. They could tell you a lot of stories. And see, that just cuts really fine lines right there. I know it's kind of hard to see. And then one of my favorite tools is naturally this chip carving knife. I've had this for a long time, and you'll see me use this a lot. And if you're going to follow a line, you're just going to lay that thing down. Just stop cut right here. right here, and it'll take it right out. Now see, look, you already got that line. And you know, I can even use it on the side. I mean, I'm so used to using tools. And chip carving knife, you can just follow a line like this. That's a wavy line. And you can come right in here. This is kind of hurry, folks. I don't want to run out of time. And it'll just come right out. There you go. And just it follows a line. Then you come right in here. Say that had to be beveled, and that line has to be stood up. Well, now let's go in here. Yeah. Take out the rest of that line. Just like that. You know, that's the good way. When I teach a lot of younger people that have no control on with a tool, you know, there's that curved line. I take a block of wood, piece of wood, and I just set them down, and I make them a line board. And this would be one way to teach yourself how to, hang on folks, my pen fell, just a line board. And what that is just take you a board and just draw you some lines. Draw some straight lines and just draw some lines, you know, and practice. Just take that right here and just practice with a knife, okay? Set it 2 or 3 times and come in here and lay that down and just practice. Okay? That's all you got to do. A line board, and you're training your hands. You're learning to cut lines. You're just learning to cut these lines. So it's just a line board. I do this with a lot of people. You know, and that way they can train their hand and stuff like that and do lines. And just, learn to control the knife. So remember, chiseling, carving is done with the chisels, and whittling is done with the knife. And I mean, I hope this helps people out. I'm not the greatest, you just got to be in my shop. I mean, you're here, I can take over and I can show you more tricks and more doodaddies and stuff like that. Been making some bandsaw boxes. Made this one yesterday. Just simple little box. I took a piece of bass wood and carved it to make it look like an old stick for a handle. This is one of my greens I make and everything. And this is made out of that sugar pine. I don't flock the inside, I burn it. There's one right there. And then I got another one right here that I've just roughed in. Right here. It's not done. Gotta do the sanding today. And I'll make a neat little handle. These are all my design. I don't buy books for bandsaw boxes. I just draw. So when I want a box, I just draw it. There it is. It fits really good. These are very simple to do. I'm telling you folks, I literally, I do so much, it's unreal. My shop is a wreck right now. I am painting the bear in the mountains right now. I am not ready to show it because it's in just a phenomenal stage of woodworking right now. Let's get you back up here. Well, I hope that answered the question there between carving and whittling. Remember, whittling is just with a knife. Carving mainly is considered driving with a mallet and a chisel. And I have thousands of chisels. I mean, there was a guy that on I think it's on Facebook. He has a room of all his chisels and knives on the wall. I would need a large building because I have a ton. I have tools that I buy tools constantly. And I buy unique tools, and I mainly look for tools that are handmade. I mainly do. People that make them, that's what I look for. I look for handmade knives and stuff. And then the other thing I use constantly is, like I said, this is my Dremel. I am a file carver. I can do all kinds of detail with files, rasp, all this, files. I use a lot of files. I have since I've been a kid. So, like I said, I am not knocking or anything against Dremel carvers, but this is the way I grew up because we didn't have stuff like that. And, I never even heard of a Dremel until I got older. So, I'm asked that a lot. And, no, I'm just not. I own one when I want to get into some detail sanding. I like that because, these hands are old. And you get them down like this all the time. Woo! Lordy, have mercy. The old fingies hurt and everything. So I'm hoping this kind of helps some people out. Like I said, you have questions, please ask me. And I will try to do a video of it and everything. It's just easier for me trying to talk about it. And I get my words messed up and stuff. But hey, we're not perfect. We're not, we're just not perfect at all. But anywho, I just want to jump on here for a few minutes and let everybody know kind of what carving is and what whittling is. And, a lot of people, some people may agree with me, some people may not. And that's fine, that's fine. It doesn't bother me. But, that's what it's, if you Google it, that's exactly what they're going to tell you. Carving is with a mallet and chisel and different other various tools that you drive. And it's just mainly, that style is to rough out, just bulk, move wood extremely fast. So then when you get done and you can get your picture drawn in there, then you draw the rest of it in there, then you have to go in there into detail carving. And that's done with just detail knives and maybe palms and stuff like that. That's your detail. So I just want to thank everybody for following me and subscribing. Please keep the questions coming, the comments. Remember, it does not cost you anything to subscribe to my channel and anything like that because it's free, and this is a family channel. It's a learning channel. I try to teach everybody. Another guy wanted me to show this right here. It's not hard to find. The Wellbond glue. I use it all the time. Get you some of this, folks. I'm not paid to say this. Not sponsored or nothing. Wellbond. I get it at Ace. The first time I ever bought it was on Amazon. So you can look this up. It's Wellbond glue. It's worth your money. I love this stuff. Very much so. So anywho, thanks to everybody for subscribing. Like I said, keep everything coming. I got here in a few weeks or something like that, I am going to be setting up outside and I'm going to be doing some adze carving, some spoon carving. A lot of people want to see that. I've got to sharpen up tools because I have a show coming. I'll be at a church showing everybody how to do primitive carving. I would love to video it, but I don't know how to take the music out because they're going to have a lot of music there, and I don't want to have any problems. So, anywho, just thank you all. You all have a blessed day, and I will just talk to you later. Thank you again.